This week, diving headfirst into the rumor mill next. If even half of this stuff is true, then we are about to see a major change, an absolutely bonkers major change for the MCU going forward. Imagine two of the biggest Marvel movies, we're talking major Avengers level events, and also Spider-Man solo flick, potentially featuring some characters and villains that are really it's going to take you a little bit of time to wrap your mind around them as villains, not going to lie. But there's that. There's also fresh leaks, quote unquote, from a supposed event that happened that is going to feed other rumors as far as Avengers are concerned. Then shifting gears into a different beloved franchise, there is a rather shocking and potentially upsetting rumor making the rounds. It might be less upsetting and a little bit more what we want, making the rounds for a certain doctor. And then we also have whispers about new characters in other Marvel projects, some very wild casting calls, and major video game adaptation that could make or beat expectations. There's a lot to talk about in the rumor mill, so let's go.
Maybe. It's classified.
Welcome, nerds, to the Clips channel. This is the reason why I'm convinced most people watch The Week in Nerddom as a whole. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, over on the main channel, Generally Nerdy, this is a small portion of the main show that I do on that channel called The Week in Nerddom. We talk about movie news and gaming news and comic books and so on and so forth. And we talk about the rumor mill as well, which, you know, that's why you tuned in, because you want to hear all of the juicy gossip as to what's going to be happening in the pop culture sphere of things, comic book movies, comic books, etc., etc. We get into every aspect of the nerddom here as it pertains to what is rumored to be happening, or we're going to kill some rumors, or we're going to shoot some stuff down based on the weakness of the person who is leaking the information, the rumor monger, if you will. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's jump into the rumor mill, shall we?
Subscribe. That is all.
We have no nonsense this week. We're just diving straight into new rumors. No new sources for old rumors, no confirmations or refutations of other rumors or anything like that. Just new freaking rumors. So let's do this. First up, we have a couple of things to address for Avengers Doomsday. We have a supposed leak. I don't know how much of this I believe, but it's been around for some time. There is, if you really want to grasp at straws, there is a little bit of evidence that Disney themselves have been talking about this for a little bit of time. They've just kind of been subtly dropping hints, and then this is kind of taking those hints and putting them together, right? So it is, again, a quote-unquote leak from the Blockbuster consumer products presentation that they do in a different country. So how some of these leakers claim they got this information directly from this presentation, I don't know. But that is where this information originates. We also have a Spider-Man 4 piece that comes from this as well, but we'll get there. So this one, there's two things that we're going to be addressing in this, two separate elements of the same leak, I guess. But I think that some of this information, because it's again supposedly been confirmed to a certain degree by Disney, but only some of this has, not all of this. So what exactly is the leak, eh? Deadpool is supposed to have leaked as being in the movie, as well as the Thunderbolts team, the Fantastic Four team, and some of the X-Men characters. So that haven't previously been announced already. So this is the first portion of this, is the characters that were leaked. This is the stuff that has been somewhat substantiated by Disney, again, subtly saying things in interviews and at events and things. So this one, I would say 85% likely that we're going to be seeing, and also this all stands to reason. We just got the Thunderbolts movie, so they're going by the new Avengers these days. Of course they're going to be in the Avengers movie. Fantastic Four is happening. They were teased at the end of the Thunderbolts movie, so of course they're going to be in Avengers Doomsday. What was the other one? The X-Men is gearing up to be the next big event, is the X-Men, the mutant saga, if you will. So of course they're going to be in the Fantastic Four movie. And then Deadpool is, if he wasn't in this, you would have riots in the streets to a certain degree, just because he's such a fan favorite character, and the Deadpool Wolverine movie did so incredibly well. All three Deadpool movies have done so incredibly well. They would be crazy to not have Deadpool and probably Wolverine, as played by Hugh Jackman, in this movie. So again, of course they're going to be here. The issue comes from the other stuff. So the other stuff, so again, 85% there. The other stuff rumored in this supposed leak is in the form of location, where the movie is supposedly going to be starting in Wakanda. Sure, why not? That's silly. Why do we even need to speculate about that? And then the other half of it is Sentinels are going to be featured as tools of Doctor Doom. This one seems like a bit of a stretch. Like, granted, I will give you that it all comes from the same source, so it all should be just as verifiable, but the other stuff, like I said, is kind of a gimme at this point. Like, it's an of course. This stuff, though, is a little too on the nose, and also has kind of been debunked to a certain degree. But again, I think that to a certain degree, modifier at the end of that is key here, because yeah, it still might work. So Doctor Doom's Sentinels, I think, is the thing that really killed this for me, because again, Wakanda, whatever, like, why do we care? Why is this a rumor that is intriguing to us? I don't know. So the Doctor Doom Sentinels thing is what dropped this down, why I even decided to split these two things as separate percentages. So we're gonna say 60%. Like, I still think it might happen, but only a little bit. So that's what we have for Avengers. Let's talk now about Spider-Man 4. This one's crazy, and you honestly have probably heard at least part of this. Depending on how tuned in you are to the rumor mill, it will be different parts for different people, so I'm just gonna bring them all together, because they are all effectively the same thing. They do all come from kind of the same source. It's just been substantiated differently in different areas. So what am I talking about? The quote-unquote main villain for this movie is going to be Savage Hulk, again, as leaked by this event, the Blockbuster Consumer Products event. So Savage Hulk is going to be the quote-unquote main villain, and then we have the other villains. I think we have actually talked about this previously. At least Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tombstone. We've talked about them. The new one that's added to the list is Tarantula. So we have technically two new villains added to this. And Hulk as a villain, I think we're getting our terminology mixed up. Hulk as antagonist, that makes much more sense. Savage Hulk, absolutely, as antagonist. He's lost himself inside the savagery of the Hulk. I can see that as an antagonist. They've done that a number of times in the comics, so it makes sense that they would do that at some point in the movies. They have kind of addressed that previously in previous Avengers movies, so like, we know it is a thing that could happen. Thank God they're getting rid of Professor Hulk, because, oh my lord, I can't put up with that anymore. But Savage Hulk as antagonist, primary antagonist, I can kind of see that. The addition of Tarantula, he's kind of obscure, gonna be maybe the villain that we see as a cameo almost at the beginning of the movie. Sure, whatever. I think that's what they're gonna do with Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tombstone. They're all going to be just kind of tertiary. They're just going to exist in the background more than anything. Oof. Saying that Savage Hulk is going to be your primary antagonist is really a difficult ask for normie audiences to buy into that. So like, I can't see that as being the turnaround that Kevin Feige is looking for in Marvel movies, having this difficult ask of your audience. Having a difficult ask for an actor, just trying to shoot for the stars with a casting direction, that kind of makes a little bit more sense than this even. So we're going to say about 50% likely that we're going to see Savage Hulk as the primary antagonist. Will he show up? I think that's possible. Will he be the primary antagonist for this movie? I really don't see a good argument for or against, honestly. So 50%. The other, then we're going to lump these two together because they technically come from different sources, but they're equally as ridiculous. The other two rumors that we have in this are the symbiote suit Spider-Man is going to have some sort of appearance. We're going to see black suit Spider-Man in Spider-Man 4, and the Punisher is also going to be in this movie. No. There is a very slim possibility they have left the door open for both of these to be possible. Likelihood is super low, 25% likely we're going to be seeing Symbiote suit and Punisher, because we'll get into that in the speculation section. There's reasons why I went there. Let's continue on with the actual rumors though. We have Vision, the new Vision Quest series, reportedly has cast their Jocasta in the form of Tania Miller, whom you will recognize because she was in The Fall of the House of Usher. She was the Telltale Heart episode. She was the oldest daughter, I think, but she was fantastic there. If this is legit, then I'm totally for it. I think that's freaking awesome. She's a great actor. And also, this is in the trades at this point. I'm pretty sure it was in the actual Hollywood Reporter. Might have been a Variety. Either way, it's the trades. And once it's in the trades, it's almost a confirmation that's actually happening. So we're going to say 90% likely that Tania Miller has been cast as Jocasta for the Vision series. Next up is Doctor Who. We've talked about this kind of previously. This is a different source. This is an evolution, I think, of the same rumor, but technically a different rumor. Ncuti Gatwa has reportedly been fired. It is no longer on hiatus, but Ncuti has been fired from the role of Doctor Who, according to rumors. No way to confirm or deny this one. Like, he could have quit. They could have let him amicably leave his contract. We don't know exactly what the situation is. There have been a number of rumors that we've addressed previously in this same vein where they put it on indefinite hiatus, they don't know when they're coming back, blah, blah, blah. And they've all kind of gotten the same 50% out of me because, like, yes, we see that they're doing poorly. Yes, we see that they're losing money. Do they care enough to put the narrative aside and change things that are going to actually make them money? I don't know that they're to that point yet with this IP. With other IPs that are losing them dramatically more money, yeah, I think they're about to that point. With Doctor Who, though, I think they have something else up their sleeve. I also think they could be done with losing. Like, there's enough of an argument on both sides to say 50% that this is going either way. And then, oh, this is more casting. Oh my good lord. This one kind of has me a little bonkers just because, well, you'll see. So, Street Fighter, new live action movie Street Fighter. There have been reported casting leaks, and you're gonna love this. Some of these have more likelihood than others, but we're just gonna lump them all in the same likelihood just because, like, this is really out of this world. So, casting rumors, we have Jason Momoa as Blanca? Really? Really? As Blanca? Okay. We also have Roman Reigns from the WWE as Akuma. What? Andrew Koji as Ryu. If you don't know the name, his face should look at least a little familiar. He played Storm Shadow in the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes movie. And then we have Noah Centineo, who I vaguely even recognized, and he is supposedly playing Ken Masters. The reason you recognize Noah's face is because he was Atom Smasher in the Black Adam movie. Wow. So Jason Momoa as Blanca is the thing that killed this the most, but also Roman Reigns as Akuma. Akuma is an old character. Akuma is not, like, he's physically in good shape, but that is like everyone in the Street Fighter universe. So that should not be the reason why you're casting somebody who's younger than Blanca. Oh man. Oh, just like sometimes the things that are in this rumor mill just baffle the mind. But the other two kind of make sense. Like I could totally see Andrew Koji as Ryu. Like that, yeah, okay, sure, absolutely. And the other guy is still kind of secondary character at best. Just the actor himself just doesn't really get anything huge. Being in a DCEU movie is fairly large. That is a good paycheck for sure. But like, he wasn't Black Adam. He wasn't even Hawk Girl. So like, yeah. But yeah, so like, he's still, like, I can see them casting somebody like that as Ken, giving him an opportunity, if you will. Especially because it's the last time we saw Street Fighter in live action, the last two times we saw Street Fighter in live action, didn't go so well. The second one is so mediocre that it went straight to video. So overall, we're gonna say 50% likely that this is the casting leak, because this all comes from the same source. If we had different sources for these, we might address them differently, but like Jason Momoa as Blanca is never gonna happen. If it does, I don't know, we'll do some sort of thing where I do something ridiculous, but like, no way in hell. Okay. Especially because he's gonna be Lobo. Like, he has so much on his plate right now. Why would he take something of the whatever, we're moving on. That is what we have for our new rumors. Let's talk a little bit about it. All right, nerds, so let's take a break real quick. New season, new sponsor. Well, not exactly new sponsor. This is technically an old sponsor. Me, I'm sponsoring myself. This season we're going to be doing a big merch push. Don't forget the Dubby. Dubby's always great, but we have merch. We're going to be doing active merch things, sales and special items and all this stuff. Right now, there are no special items up just yet over at the Spring store. We do have random stuff on the Redbubble store, both of which are linked down below. But if you go check out the Spring store, that's where the Basic Nerd merch line is. So any of your Basic Nerd stuff that you want, basically it's all of the sections that we do the Week in Nerddom in. So there's a gaming nerd, there's a comic book nerd, there's a music nerd, there's a TV nerd, all of the different sections, and then the split sections even. We have a gaming nerd, we have a tech nerd, we have comic book nerd, and a book nerd. That all of these are up in the Basic Nerd line. And then probably roughly once a month throughout the course of this season, we're going to be doing a special shirt in each of those, the section shirts, or however we're gonna sell it. I haven't worked out all of the details just yet, but we're getting there, all right? So go check out the Basic Nerd stuff. I super dig it. I think it's just the most simple way to proclaim to the world that you are nerdy in this area, or just generally nerdy, because it says generally nerdy at the back of all of these shirts, except for the zip-up hoodies say it on the chest. So yeah, go check it out. That is, I'm going to have a special, I will have things to show off soon. I need to order the individuals, the samples, and this shirt that I'm wearing right now is not currently up on the store. This is going to come back. It needs to be a little bit reworked because it still has the old logo on it. But yeah, we will be bringing back the "Do You Even Pop Culture, Bro" shirts as a specialty item sometime throughout this season. So stay tuned for that. Go check out the merch, and let's get back to the video. Speculation. I kind of got into that with the Street Fighter. We're not going to address Street Fighter. We're going to address Spider-Man 4 in the speculation for this episode. So these rumors, these the specifically the ones that we gave 25%, specifically the Symbiote suit and Punisher, because like the other ones, I mean, we kind of there's a little bit to those rumors, but the other things that are just seem over sensational, just ridiculously fan servicey, are a nothing burger. So I originally heard these rumors from Josh over at the Den of Nerds, and the last video I watched of his before this announcement, he was basically laying out how Marvel, by and large, especially over the course of the last 5 to 8 years, the rumors about the movies have been much more epic and amazing and fan servicey than the actual movies themselves. And then the very next video, we get this crazy, awesome rumor where he's like, I think it's legit. Like, I love Josh. I think the dude does great work, especially in like parsing out the likelihood of certain rumors, but like, he's not taking his own advice at this one. Granted, in the video where he was saying, you know, they see the rumors are more exciting than the actual movies, and so they're taking note, was kind of the message behind that. So they're taking note, and they should be going for these bigger spectacle movies. I think that's the mindset he's going for. That's a wishful thinking mindset. I think that Feige is going to be much more measured. He's not going to introduce 20 different new concepts to these people who don't read comic books. People who are not used to being bombarded with all of this epic fan service are not going to take well if that's the direction they go. So that is a big part of the reason why I went so low with those two rumors, because it would be awesome. I think it would be really, really cool if they could kind of tease those and plant those seeds for movies going forward. That would be great. But to have them feature in the movie in any sort of predominant way is an insane thing to think is going to happen. The casting things, that's fine. The new villains, even the Hulk is more feasible than this insane fan service idea. That is way too many subplots. That movie will become 2.5, 3 hours long. We already get that in the major event movies like the Avengers, etc. So to also have that in a Spider-Man movie is going against what they have said publicly that they're going to not do. They're not going to issue us homework in order to enjoy the movie that we're in. And that's what that would be. If you have to see Daredevil in order to fully appreciate what's going on in Spider-Man, they're not going to do that. They have said that in no uncertain terms at this point. So I think to honestly believe that they are going to do anything other than a passive mention or even a light brief image or something equivalent for the symbiote suit, maybe a reference to Punisher or maybe even Daredevil, because that is some epic storytelling in the comic books. You get some great stories from Spider-Man and Daredevil together. Like, that's been a thing that the fandom has wanted for years, since we got the Netflix Daredevil show. Like, oh my god, they can do this. Let's put him in with Tom Holland so that we can have this crazy awesome movie. Is it potentially going to happen 8 years down the road? Maybe. Is it going to happen now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So yeah, that's my speculation. Like, I really feel like anyone getting too hype over these announcements, these rumors, these leaks, is not reading the room. So that's kind of where we're at with the rumor mill this week, nerds. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, probably here.